I'm going to share with you every single secret about hiring a remote professional. If you're thinking about hiring a virtual assistant, stop. You're not just hiring a VA. You're hiring a remote professional who should make an impact from day one. And if you do this wrong, you'll waste time, money, and energy you can never get back. Before you even think about hiring, you need clarity. What is this person going to do? How are they going to do it? What does success look like in this role? And what does the future of this role look like? And this is where we start. You must understand the role that you're hiring for. A lot of times people think they need a closer, but in reality, they need an appointment setter. And vice versa, sometimes they think they need an appointment setter, but really they need a closer. Are you currently having a lot of leads, but not a lot of closings? Well, at this point, you probably don't need another appointment setter. You need a closer that can come in and close the leads. But sometimes people, what they do is they hire a lot of closers, but nobody is warming up the leads, nurturing the leads, and scheduling the appointments. So the closers are actually not taking as many calls as they should. Now, this, guys, is an example for appointment setters and closers. However, you want to replicate this for every single position. Every position within your company, video editor, graphic designer, media buyer, client success, must have a KPI attached to it that is measurable and achievable. You want to clearly identify the role that you have. If you're looking for an appointment setter, what is their day-to-day going to be like? Are they calling warm leads? Are they targeting colder leads? Are they sending messages on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram? What is this person going to be doing on a day-to-day basis? And one of my best advice, if you're hiring for this role, and really any role in the beginning, you should do the job yourself. Fun fact, I edited the first few videos I ever did a few years ago, and they were so bad, but at least I got myself into it and understood the process of editing. Whether I was good or not, I did it because I wanted to learn before I actually hired someone to understand exactly what I'm looking for. So how you're gonna do this is you're gonna look at your last 30 days and you're gonna create a list of all the tasks that you want to outsource. So for instance, appointment setting. Maybe you wanna do video editing. Maybe you need a media buyer. Maybe you need an executive assistant. List out every single task that you have right now in your company that you are not supposed to do in terms of you, the CEO, and look into outsourcing for these tasks. The more that you can list out, the better. Now keep in mind, you don't want to hire one person for multiple roles. You want to hire someone that is going to focus on admin and executive assistant type of roles, and then someone else for an appointment setter, cold caller type of role, and then a closer. Now in the beginning, you can have a person do multiple jobs, sure, but be careful of hiring one person to do 15 different jobs. They're going to go crazy, and you're going to be upset because they're not going to get you results. Then, when you list out the tasks, ask yourself, out of these tasks, what is the most important tasks that I am the CEO currently doing that I need to outsource? For example, if you don't have someone nurturing and qualifying the leads, maybe you should hire an appointment setter before hiring a video editor. However, maybe you're really big into content and every single day you're making videos and you want to blow up your brand. Awesome. Then a video editor should be coming before hiring an appointment setter. So which of your tasks are highest of your priorities? That's who you're going to target. After you're done with the tasks, you want to type this into ChatGPT to help you understand what other tasks can this person do. Because you might have listed out a lot of tasks, maybe 3, maybe 10, maybe 30 tasks. Great. Enter this into ChatGPT and have ChatGPT list out more tasks that can pertain for this role, because you never want this person to run out of work to do. Even if things are slowing down with your company and you have less leads or you have less videos to shoot, whatever the case may be, you want to make sure they always have things to do. Whether they're very high ROI for you or low ROI, as long as they're doing something that is productive and helping you move the needle, that is going to be the game changer. So once you've identified the role, you've identified the tasks, now it's time to create a Google form. Now, what I recommend is to create a form with about 15 to 20 questions that are qualified questions from the beginning of the form, having a very basic information like name, number, email, to specific questions about the role, right? Specifically asking them if they've done this skill, if they have experience in this industry, whatever the case may be. Again, go to ChatGPT, and once you've put the tasks, ChatGPT will actually help you create a form that is dedicated for this exact role. We do this all the time whenever we create any job description. And specifically, we used to do this when we first started. Obviously, now we have a dialed in process for this. This is why people are hiring us instead of doing all this work, but we'll get back to that a little bit later. At the end of this form, there should be a video submission link. Every single candidate must submit a 60 to 90 second video talking about themselves, their experience, their skill, why they're a good fit, why you should choose them, and a few other qualifiers. This video is gonna help you understand, obviously, number one, their English, their look, their vibe, and most importantly, helps you understand a little bit more about them, because when you get on calls with them, and especially if they're client facing, you wanna make sure that they're presentable, and you wanna make sure that this person is the right person to represent you and your company and your brand. After they submit the video, the very last thing should be where they submit their resume. So of course, they've answered a lot of questions that pertain to resume, but I also wanna see the resume. And one thing that I look for in resumes is the organization, the chronological order, and specific gaps. I'm gonna make a video how I break down resumes, so be on the lookout for that very soon. So now that we have the form, the video submission, and the resume submission, the next thing that we're gonna do is testings. The first testings that we do is a personality test. We internally in Remote Latinos prefer the 16 personalities and the DISC assessment. They're both great. And you can also, once again, use ChatGPT to help you understand the type of person that this is. Now, one fun fact, guys, although we use personality tests for every single candidate internally and for our clients, out of the entire process, I probably put about a 5% importance on this. It's good to know, but I never disqualify anybody because of a personality test. Just have them do it so you have a little bit more information about them. Now we enter the skill test, and this is in two parts. The first skill test is before the interview, and the next skill test is after the interview. Let me talk about the first skill test first. The first skill test is something that's a little bit more generic and has to do with the last 30 days of work. Now, I like to do two skill tests because both of them show me two different sides of the coin. All right. So for example, one of them might be a test where they answer specific questions in different scenarios. Another one might be where they record a different video answering these questions or creating a spreadsheet, and another one breaking down the spreadsheet. One of them is a little bit simpler than the other, so keep that in mind. But what's important here is they do the first skill test before the first interview. Okay. The second skill test comes after the interview, and this is based on the interview that I just had with them. I create a skill test that I'm like, this is what this person's struggling with. Let me see how they would come up with solutions. Let me see how they would think outside the box to actually come up with a game plan to make sure that this works. Okay, so skill test 1 before the interview, skill test 2 after the interview. Next is the interview portion. I absolutely love this portion because this is where I get to find out more about the people. And just like the skill test, we do 2 sets of interviews. Thankfully, I have a bigger team now with an operations manager, recruiters who interview people beforehand. If I was starting this business from scratch, I would do 2 interviews still myself. Now, here's what's important about the interview. The first interview, I book at a set time. The second interview, I do it 1 or 2 days later at a completely different time. I prefer to do one in the morning to see how this person's in the morning, and then a couple days later in the afternoon, because I want to see, number 1, if they're going to show up on time. Believe it or not, some people don't. Number 2, I want to see their moods throughout the day. Obviously, in the morning is going to be one mood. Later on in the day is going to be another mood. That's something that's important. And then what we do in the interview is we actually ask them questions, but we also give them a chance to ask us questions. We actually have an interview guide. If you want this guide, comment the word guide on this video, and I'll personally send this guide over to you. So the first interview is done. We send a skill test. And then the second interview is where we review both skill tests. I actually get a chance to review the skill test with them on the call, and I ask them a few more questions pertaining to this test to make sure that we're aligned on what needs to happen next. After I've interviewed this person, and keep in mind, guys, I'm talking about one person, but in reality, we're doing this with at least 3, ideally 5 people. Okay, some of my mentors say to do it with more. I found that the magic number of 5 has worked great for us. No less than 3, no more than 5. That has worked amazing, especially when we filter out people ahead of time. A lot of people don't do any filtering and they're just interviewing people off the cliff. I don't recommend that. This is why I give you guys a little bit of the preview, because if you do the filtering right, you don't have to sit there in interviews all day. It's literally like a candidate funnel that will filter out the people that are a good fit versus the people that are not a good fit. Next step is, once we've actually interviewed this person and they've gone through the filtering process, we're going to onboard them. And you guessed it, there's a two-part onboarding. The way that we do the onboarding, again, it breaks into two parts. The first onboarding is our company onboarding. This is where we go over core values of the company, but we break it down on the call. And I ask the person on this call, what does each core value mean to them? For instance, what does proactive, not reactive mean to you? What does extreme ownership mean to you? What does open hearts, open minds mean to you? I just ask them every single one of our core values, and they're gonna answer that to me. I also ask them something that is very, very deep, and that is, what is your dream? And how I do this, and this is how I frame this, is I tell them first about my dream. I tell them all my goals, all my aspirations, and really what my dreams are. And once I open up and become vulnerable with them, they now tell me their dream. Because ultimately, me as the CEO of the company, me as the leader, my job is to help us get from place A to place B. And how we do this is by building the people. You build the people and the people build the business. And by building the people, the more you build them, the more they get to achieve their dreams, whether it's to travel, take care of their family, buy a home, whatever it may be. Now I'm fully aware of what this person's dream is. Sometimes it takes longer to get there, but now I know what I need to do in order to get them to where they want to get to. Next is our role onboarding. So role onboarding is a lot more detailed about the actual role. Okay, I go over what does success look like in this role. I go over KPIs. I go over the trainings, who they're gonna shadow, what's the day-to-day gonna be like, and just everything they need about this role. After this role onboarding, they are crystal clear about what needs to happen and what is the expectation, and then we start the actual job. Because up until now, it's been Hollywood auditioning. Believe it or not, how I view this is all Hollywood. And then the movie starts when the person actually starts working, because it's very easy to make a great video, to make a great resume, and to sound good on the interview. But what's hard is to start working. What's hard is to be consistent. And what's hard is to provide results in the long run. That's what I'm looking for. And that's what we help clients with candidates. If you want a top talent, rockstar remote team member, head over to Latinos and my team can help you find exactly what you're looking for. Next, on these onboardings, we cover end of day report, end of week report, and end of month report. And this is what I'm gonna end off and tell you guys what we do on each one of these. So end of day is when they are gonna clock out. And by the way I love my team to clock in is we have a team channel on our Slack and they say good morning. When they say good morning, that's when they start working. And their end of day report is their clock out. It's about 10 questions, very quick. Should take them 5 to 10 minutes to finish, and it's about their day, what was good, what was bad, what was challenging, how we're gonna overcome this, what do they need help with, and then overall how they're feeling about the role, their energy, and things like that. End of week is a little bit more detailed. It's similar to the end of day, except now I'm expecting more information because you're assessing your entire week. What went right, what went wrong, what are we gonna improve, what are your goals? And again, energy, health, and things that I look for as a CEO, because I care about my team, not just as their performers, but also in terms of their health and making sure they're taking care of themselves. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of my business. And then end of month report is something that we do on a monthly basis. Okay, this is done with the leaders of the company. Every single leader has a one-on-one with their team member, and we break down the month. Very similar to the end of day and end of week, except again, it's much more detailed because we're going over the entire month. Now, if you stuck around this long, I promised you the platform that we use to track everybody, and we use Hubstaff. So if you go to hubstaff.com or click the link in the description, you can actually sign up and use Hubstaff. It's very, very cheap. It tracks the hours, takes screenshots and activity of each person that you have, and I highly recommend this. I wish that I used this when I first started. We just started using this pretty recently. It's been a game changer because now we get to see certain things, especially if we're not aligned. I'm not sitting there and checking Hubstaff all day. The last thing I want to do is micromanage anybody. If I have to micromanage you, you're gonna get fired. But it's good to know in terms of training, it's good to know in terms of quality control, and overall, it's better to know than not to know. So go to hubstaff.com if you're looking to sign up for a tracking platform. And guys, the difference between a scaling business and a struggling business, it really boils down to who you hire and who stays in your business. In order for that to happen, you need to stop making bad hirings. Stop making decisions that are hurting yourself and your company on a regular basis. You're going through the same cycle of hiring people that should not be there. And this is why our team at Latinos has helped so many business owners around the world. We've helped hundreds and hundreds of business owners like Ryan Pineda, Eddie Malouf, Nick Perry, and many other influencers and their community finding high-level top talent in Latin America and really all over the world, whether it's appointment setters, closers, editors, I mean, you name it. So if you head over to remotelatinos.com and you schedule a call with our team, we're gonna help you find exactly what you're looking for. We We have over 50,000 people in our database. Within a couple of days of finding out what you're looking for, we're gonna present you with the candidates, have you hop on interviews, and hire the person. So instead of doing this whole thing I just talked about, we do it all for you. But if you don't, go ahead and do this process yourself. I highly recommend it if you're a beginner. And then you could go into our marketplace and actually try to find someone on your own. So if you head over to app.remotelatinos.com or the link in the description, you can sign up for free and find your next Rockstar Remote team member. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.